Okay. Okay, here we go. So this Heidel ball, we got some naval content announced, and today we will be talking all about it. Hey Bunny. Yeah, so they didn't show much apart from slides, however this could be something our geared members could enjoy. Okay, I'll link the YouTube version for your later. Okay peeps, so Blue Battlefield is gonna be the new naval version of Red Battlefield. So instanced PvP just with ships. However, from what the devs said, they tried to make it just a flat naval team deathmatch like how basic Red Battlefield was, but then found that didn't really keep players interested. So they redesigned it, and this is now what they came up with instead. You will have to, instead of just sinking ships, you will capture locations on the map. So it makes it more of a fleet-wide event rather than how Red Battlefield is, where one highly geared ship could shit on everyone. In this mode they said they wanna see actual naval tactics and fleet strategy being deployed with different fleet compositions in the mix. So like secure an area for your team, and for that you will need fast ships and high damage ships and panics as tanks. They did say in order to make things fair, all stats will be reduced by 50% of your open world ship stats, however. So like the players with 200% or more will instead have much less. However, I am not sure how the calculation will be done, if it's everything past 100% or what yet. Seen as it's not even on global lab testing, however I assume that will come soon, and we will see how much the ship stats will be adjusted in this mode. So we will still be waiting for those details. However, they did say they would reduce stats to make it so you can have a fair playing experience, with no one ship being too fast to hit or turning too fast or anything like that. Apart from that, I think damage will be as it is in the open world. Also, seen as this is all instanced, it will give you parts of the sea in Bullnose and Calphion. So we got like 2 regions and not really the wide open sea like Margoria, in order for there to be plenty of islands to be used as cover or locations for the capture points. So really we will be close to the coastlines. Coast. His kinda region we are talking. So from what they were saying, we will have one map here. And another here. I assume if this goes well they will add more, however, seen as this is a point capture mode, it kinda requires islands nearby. A lot like how Valencia City is carved up into control zones for the red battlefield capture mode on land. Like cores on land, for example, they have all the cross points all with circles you gotta stand in and take control over to accumulate points, and kills just give you extra. At sea I would assume this will work the same. Like perhaps they have one team spawn at Valia and the other at NatalieRar Island. Same with over here, one may spawn at Pirate and the other at Eperia. So yeah, it makes sense if it works that way. However, they did say no sailors will be lost or anything like that, and I'd assume pirates may also join, making this the go-to place for actual PvP at sea. As usually, if you sink you lose sailors and other things like that, which makes it less appealing to sailors. And as we now have plenty of guilds with idle sailors looking for shit to do, now we can just fight to the death, cause funny. Should at least be some level of entertainment. However, the other thing is they were saying a bunch about this being done through guilds. Now I don't know if there is a minimum or if they just need a guild in order to properly distribute the group rewards or what yet. However, there was a lot of talk about 2 ships that usually are barely used in day-to-day sailing. For one, it's the Epheria Galley, the super rare ship you only get for 3 days, and it's very luck based. Well, it will be allowed to participate in this event as a wild card, as the devs said. I'd assume, given its default stats being very good, they intend for this thing to be a lot like a powerful game changer, so beware of the lucky players with that ship. Wouldn't be surprised if they also don't reduce its stats for PvP. However, the other ship, they have kinda made an effort to being into this as a main player, while otherwise it's a barely used ship. The guild galley will be used as a flagship for the fleets, and I'd assume there may be some reward of points of whatnot for sinking the enemy one. This is likely why this is gonna be done using the guilds. seen as you could only use the guild Galley if you are in a guild, with a lot of emphasis on making a guild Galley a main player in this naval fleet wars style mode. So yeah, guild Galley is gonna be a thing. And likely designed as a prize target for any wannabe sinker enthusiasts. Enthusiasts, I mean. So yeah, likely if the ship has a significant role in the game mode, you will need a small squad dedicated to harassing the enemy flagship. This could make things interesting. However, now to my personal overview of this, now that we got the details out of the way. So frankly, I am happy they see there is a player base of sailors who do want a PvP mode. However, my only concern is in the way they plan to manage the matchmaking. This is very gated content. as really you may only see the 2 biggest guilds on the server using this as a casual tourney mode to salt farm, given it basically will run on a node war style timetable and is locked behind guild access, so you can't really go in with a bunch of randoms as far as I am aware. This is what lets it down for me. Like if they make it where you have 2 guilds as like the providers of the core fleet, fine, but they need to let solo ships like in Red Battlefield join randomly and help out. Otherwise this robs us of a very good use. This could have 4 naval guilds, which would be for recruitment. As you may see, a lone player who just happens to be placed on your team, and you just find you all get along great, but they are guildals and you could invite them as a full-time member of your naval guild. Like there are plenty of Carrack owners who want to PvP, but they are rolling solo cores. Most guilds don't like piracy as it starts drama. And that currently is the only way. However, this PvP mode may be full of what would otherwise be pirates, and the sea salt section of the BDO sailing Discord will be full of lovely shit talk, I am sure, cause of this. Like haha look I sank such and such. All that. Yeah, so basically I think making it guild v guild would be a node war, just with less of the actual benefit of an actual node war, if you get what I mean. Like we don't even know the rewards yet, but I'd like if this gave us crow coins. However, I think they may just only give guild silver, which to naval guilds is fucking worthless. We can kill sea monsters for that, but I don't know if the devs will realize that till they get to live release of the mode and see it is fun for a week or two then goes dead. Like this is the big difference between land and sea guilds. Land guilds gotta do node wars and shit for silver for the guild piggy bank, while naval guilds we just gotta kill a few sea monsters and whoop-da-doo we got like 100 mil easy as that. This is why I'd like them to keep in mind some level of solo player progression, helping stuff like free crow coins or silver for winning or even participation. Like if you have a fully geared ship, you wanna have something that's gonna make this worth your time and effort you put in besides just sea salt. As for most players, unless you hate land content and are just bored, this really isn't gonna stay alive for long. We need some reason for the solo players to join this too, and we need this to be good rewards and them to also let us use this as a better way to scout better naval players we otherwise would never have found via the usual recruitment channels. Like cause there are some amazing players who tend to just not join guilds cause they know they shoot one ship wrongly and well they get kicked for being a problem. We need those guilds who are actually looking for those kinds of players to have a good way to link up with these people. If done correctly, we could see a resurgence of PvP naval guilds. Otherwise this is gonna be a side bit of fun, bunch of shit talk happens and everyone settles those naval grudges, calls each other shit or pussies, and then gets back to bartering again. I want this to be something special, but I just got a feeling the way they are making this work may not have the desired result. Like cause really this in its current state only appeals to the players already sitting on full +10 Bluebeard carracks. Why should some solo player looking to get into Naval want to grind all the way to Carrack if they still would need a guild to actually PvP in the mode made for Naval PvP? That's my issue here. Like let the solo player roll solo if they wish and still let them PvP. Like pirates who, let's be honest, this is aimed at the fucking barter guilds, ain't gonna touch this. Not really. Then yeah, you need to let solo pirates have a way to team up and shit on other players. Like wah you shoot at me while I barter you, Guifa bruv. You think those kinds of players and guilds are gonna touch this? Fuck no. Like even that war we got into a while ago, which was the closest we got to actual naval PvP, well even then that one guild sent basically a solo pirate who just happened to be in a guild like their guild's hitman after us. Pirates tend to roll solo given the penalties and are, let's be honest, the only players who are gonna comprehend the PvP to a level required for this. Like bullet shotting and other tricks. Like if all stats are nerfed, your cannon skill is gonna really make a difference. Like cause who's gonna hit their shots, the guy who's shooting shots that take like 1 second to hit the enemy hull at range, or the guy who's taking like 6 seconds of flight time as the enemy just casually turns to avoid.
That's why it's hard to tell what's down below.
It's clearly gonna be the one who can bullet shot.
You could get kicked out.
Oh, and don't get me started on the fact most guilds don't actually understand naval combat in a fleet context. Currently only the more naval history nerdy players will even have a clue how to coordinate a full fleet like will be required. Like fleet naval isn't like solo at all. Fleet is all about formations and correct ship composition. You also need the command structure, which most guilds don't have set up currently for when shit goes badly. Like we kinda have the structure, just we have been idle for so long we lack the manpower and active players to pull that shit off at scale anymore. But we got the ranks and people in said ranks fine. Just it ain't gonna be a big fleet. cause you need a fleet commander, then admirals of the subdivisions, then below that you need like group captains of like a handful of ships, so your formations don't lose all control if you get your line split or formation penetrated. Just look at the Battle of Trafalgar and you will see why you need such a subdivided command structure. One shot caller ain't gonna cut it. Like so, in case you aren't read up on your naval history, well, basically Nelson sent his 2 lines headlong into the enemy line formation, splitting it into 3 parts, and after that they were basically all fending for themselves. Little more complex than that, but that's a basic overview. Essentially the enemy fleet was fucked cause he split the combined enemy fleet in parts and broke their command structure. Like cause I think they had like 2 command ships, so split them in 2 and perhaps they would have been fine, but split the fuckers in 2 and well, good luck communicating properly. In 3 I mean. So yeah, that's why we essentially have one command per 3 ships. Command leads the formation and the other 2 follow, that way you cover the flanks. And you can move in and around each other. When what I assume will happen is some shot caller will try to command like 10 or more ships at a time, get split in half and then shattered and sunk. And that's assuming they fight in line or group formation. If they just run at each other like it's some Lord of the Rings battle, well, you are fucked. Oh, thank you, bunny boy. But yeah, I was just going over how the guild matchmaking, being the backbone of this new mode, is fucking flawed at best and disastrous at worst, and they would have been better letting randoms join on top of a fleet of guild ships. Basically it's like Valencia Red Battlefield just with 2 guilds going at it. And it's on the sea. It will also be in and around the coast of Epheria and Valia. We get 2 arenas. One Bale knows, one Calphian Sea. Oh, and it's all cause they want the guild ships to be flagships, which I kinda understand, it's just that ship isn't fun to use. Also takes a lot of manpower. Oh, and also regular carracks in that mode get a 50% stat reduction, so you don't have literal speedboats zipping round unable to be hit. For PvP. We will defo give it a go. Just the matchmaking from what they were saying is a little dumb. Oh, and the stat reductions are relative, so a Vela will still be slower than a Volant. And a panic will be a tank. Harrier Gowley will just be to shit on everyone who doesn't have insane RNG. And yes, they are gonna let that ship in this mode. But yeah, get your shippy geared. Dark will be thrilled. I think he finally gets to shit on peeps with his blue gear carrack. However, I was also saying if they don't let there be like a bunch of randoms who can join, well, I'll be not so happy. Cause this mode could be a great way to recruit PvP sailors. If they don't let solo pirates join though, that will rob us of how great that could be. Like, cause keep in mind most guilds don't like pirates. But yeah, so they need to let this be an epic fleet showdown of the PvP naval guilds. Otherwise big missed chance. Like cause this could be exactly the kinda mode I'd play casually for silver or whatever, just they make it in a way where that doesn't seem like it's gonna be possible. Like they could do with just letting us have it active 24/7 like Red Battlefield against random players as a PvP practice mode. Or make it into two kinds of matchmaking. The guild version for guilds who want highly organized battles, and the random player mode for those who just wanna practice naval PvP with no losses. Like how they segregate Red Battlefield into ghillie and non-ghillie mode. Like cause I'd love to see some sailboats taking part. Like you know those players who as an ultimate challenge flex go up against carracks in just a blue beer jelly which is like a more squishy version of a green beer carrack. However, this mode does just seem to be like C-Node Wars instanced. Only thing is I hope they let you go in with a squad of guildies and it places you all on the same team and stuff and it's not just one guild or alliance against another. I'm hoping like War of the Roses at sea basically. Like yeah, 2 guilds provide the flagships, but I'd hope other guilds can join the teams as that may result in some unlikely alliances as a result. Like there are a lot of small pirate guilds who literally would be the target audience for this, just if they can't join cause of the numbers that would totally suck. But yeah, from what they said so far, it's not filling me with that much optimism, sadly. Like cause they really better not be trying to aim this at big guilds, as let's be honest, they are more like a barter company rather than a battle fleet. Like we literally got spies in certain but guilds, and I'm telling you now, they literally will need a restructure to even be battle capable. Like it's gonna be hilarious though if they try to fight at sea like it's some land node war off. Like you might see big guilds getting the shit kicked out of them by ships simply using the most basic sailing combat tactics. Like we talking literal line formation that basic. It's the most basic and common naval defensive strat used in the Age of Sail that essentially is just cannons go BRRR. Boomy boomy. Yeah, that. I mean, there are other strats that emerged, but let's be honest, like in real life you will see just a devolution towards lines of Valor Carracks in lines spamming the fuck out a large numbers of ships. Like cause the only thing that broke the line formation was ships having more firepower. Like so, the French and Spanish used to use line formation a lot on and off depending on the naval cannons per deck arms race. However, once ships kinda hit their limit, the Brits kinda found they could train their sailors to fire more shots per minute than their European counterparts, and they could make their ships fast and light. However, a Volant can't do that, as a Valor will always have the reload speed advantage. So matchmaking aside, the strategic depth will die just as quick. Unless you could set up boarding crews, but I don't know, as it likely will be one player per ship rules unless it's a guild ship and you can't repair.
A little messed up, right? If the kite of rat is missing, I might have to close down again. Welcome to the Port Rat Inn. I'm Hera.
Oh yeah, that's a thing, you can't repair mid-fight in this mode, so no repair shay I fuckery some fleets use. Oh, and also the repair sailor users will be pissed.
A node of the old.
Cause yeah, we got sailors that can repair now. But yeah. Shit show incoming, I bet. Could be fun though, seeing as we haven't seen such a thing before in this game, so I am looking forward to it. In a way, I just think it may need to be carefully implemented. Like really, my goal would be to make sure this can bring the sailing community together, not stir up already existing shit. Like I don't want this to be the same guilds who we know hate each other over and over again sinking and shit talking. I want this to be that, but also bring the smaller or more fringe PvP guilds into the mix to bring things together and create a proper naval PvP community from it. Like let us meet players we wouldn't otherwise, or run into unlikely allies as a result of a battle. Or find rivals and shit. Like I really want this to create a proper PvP naval community round it, of which we can aim our entire guild towards, as that being our end game, kinda like I wanted, rather than it just being a big guild slugfest. Otherwise this could possibly even backfire big time. As you literally could have one big guild that seems to be winning a bunch, steal all the good PvP players and leave the rest with nearly no one. As that could happen, you see it with Node Wars a lot, and I don't think that would go down well at sea. But the thing is, with node wars there is always a counterbalance with the number of nodes and enough total guilds to keep one guild at bay. However, on the sea we literally only got like barely 5 or 6 large sailing guilds. Okay, so Carrick Empire prob's gonna be in that mode for sure. I know Bait has a piracy counter fleet, or they did last time I checked, so likely they will do it too. Sextant for sure, I've seen them shit talk about in the sailing Discord to know. They tend to just PvP a bunch. Few others on course, but generally I only know of a few with actual PP fleets. PvP. The rest are all very small niche pirate guilds who try to not get too much attention, or they are dormant for now. Or groups of up to 5 friends who just like to sail. Plenty of those like basically guilds built off the backs of like a pirate party or even just normal sailing. The rest of the sailing guilds, mainly large or extra large, tend to work more like a sailors' company. So yeah. That's how that tends to roll. However you look at the combat mainly node war guilds, they are all generally quite big trade players back and forth and have rivalry stuff under the surface that keeps things in check, so one guild can fully kill others off by having a monopoly on good players or key locations. So yeah. I'd like to see naval guilds be like we do weekly naval PvP in the lists. Honestly though, they need to make sure C progression is like you barter, you get big shippy, you gear big shippy, you then take big shippy into PvP and then you get lots of booty and the grind feels worth it. Okay, so that's mostly all I have to say on this subject, so I will hit up the port and end stream. Gonna keep this just as the topic so I can link this in my Discord. Generally my full in-depth breakdown that was a little too long to just stick in bullet point form. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. Oh, and also my character is nearly 2 years old, Roth. In August. Like this was my summer grind with the end goal of PvP, so I'd really like if PvP becomes an actual realistic end game for naval players. Seen as otherwise a Vela is nice and I love my shippy, it's just I wanna be able to PvP with it. I might boot up a little stream later, but we will see. Like I wasn't really planning to do a stream today, but then after seeing a few vids going over the Heidel ball I was like, okay, gotta put my opinions out there, seen as this does include C content as I was hoping.